All right, folks, I think we'll get underway. I appreciate everybody coming tonight. I'm glad to see everybody. We're here to have a great dialogue, I think, and a very productive meeting. We are videotaping this meeting again. It'll be uploaded on the town's website within a couple of days. Thank you to Josh Trout for helping us out with that. Before we get into the business of the town, we have a guest tonight. This is State Representative Brian Gallagher. He is from Sanborn, but he's running for State Senate District 2, which is the seat that is presently held by Jeannie Forrester, who you probably know is running for governor. So that seat will be open, and Brian's a candidate for that position. And he just wanted to introduce himself and say a few things. And if you have any really tough questions for us, please direct them at him tonight. And that's all good. All right.
Thank you, Steve and Larry and the board. Appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come up here and introduce myself. As Chair has said, my name is Brian Gallagher. I'm a state representative from Belknap District 4, which comprises Sanderton and Tilton. Senator Forrester, who served this town along with 26 other towns, has decided to run for governor. And I had met with her last fall when that announcement came out. We had been working together in Concord on a bunch of bills, and she asked me to consider it, and here I am 6 months later. I'd like to just quickly give you a short story, a little bit of my background. I received my bachelor's degree from Boston College, and I received my master's in business administration from Plymouth University. I've worked in public finance for 30 years, beginning my career in Concord at the State Budget and Finance Office, where I worked for 12 years under 5 different governors, starting with Governor Thompson through Governor Sununu in Maryland, and so on and so forth. After that, I left and I went up to the New Hampshire Supreme Court, which is also in Concord, and I worked in the administrative office in business and finances for 8 years. After that, I took a little bit of a detour and moved into education. And my first appointment was down in the new Found Area School District, where I became the business manager for a collective school district down there, where I served for 3 years. After that, I moved down to the southeastern section of the state, I'm sorry, sir, where I worked for the Windham and Pelham school districts. So collectively, my career has been in public finance. After that, I retired. I was able to step out and try some other experiences. I ran for state representative at the urging of folks in Sanderton and Tilton, and I was fortunate to be elected on my first try. And I serve on what they call the Ways and Means Committee, which is the committee in Concord in the House that deals with the revenues and deals with tax policy that affect not only the large cities and towns, but certainly smaller communities. And the other side of the coin is the state representative. We serve on the county delegation, representing a particular town within the county, where the county budgets and county decisions are made. So in a sense, that's sort of my background. In short synopsis, to give you a little sense of who I am, I'm a fiscal conservative. I'm running as a Republican for this Senate District 2 seat. I believe in some pretty basic principles which I've carried through since I've been in the public eye, and that's that one shouldn't spend more than they have. One shouldn't be over-optimistic that there's more money than we think there is. So looking at that, I've tried to sort of keep a benchmark that putting together spending proposals with other folks should be balanced with needs versus the wants, but also they need to be balanced with real dollars. A second area which is important, I think, not only for us, but for those generations coming up behind us, is that we need to focus on excellence in education, and by that I mean teaching children and giving parents an actual choice on how children are to be taught, because each child doesn't fit into like a little cookie cutter approach between one size fits all. So I look in that direction, and I use my experience in working in school systems, to move in that direction. And finally, I'm a big advocate of smaller government and smaller regulation. Having been a part of it in the budget office, I've had the opportunity to see it and experience it. Having been in the court system, I see how it affects people in their personal lives and how it can be a real detriment. And now having served in the legislature, I'm a part of the process and been very cautious when laws and rules and regulations are coming forward to make sure that I don't support things that are going to start strangling all of us in order to move forward. And there is a quote from a country singer, Colin Ray, that said, "That's my story, and I'm going to stick to it." And I appreciate the board giving me a few minutes. I have some material which I'd like to leave with you.
Okay.
And if there are some questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Well,
if I could just say one other thing.
Sure.
We've launched a website, briangallagher.org, that has a lot of information on the profile, much more information than I can share with you tonight.
Well, I want to say that since we're down one selectman, we are kind of forced into supporting smaller government, I guess. But but I do have a question for you. Like a lot of small rural towns, revenue is an issue in Dorchester. And in particular, our highway department is a major portion of our budget. And when we can, we look to outside sources that could kind of help us with some road projects or infrastructure projects. What do you advocate being available at the state level for a town like Dorchester to help us with roads and infrastructure?
Well, there's a couple kind of things that you can look at. Within the Department of Transportation's budget, which is a large budget, there's highway block grant funding, which can come to the town for construction, maintenance, and repair. So I think for a small community, folks want to be diligent that they're receiving their fair share. And it's done on an allocation basis of population and road mileage. So that would be one area that you would want to make sure that your fair share is coming to you.
Okay.
Does the town ever receive any of those funds before?
Artie, do you know?
Yes,
We do. Have you state funding from a block grant?
Yep. Every year we receive the money from the state.
Okay.
Also rooms and meals.
Money from that tax.
Yeah.
Okay. If there's a fair share that's devoted to Dorchester, is there ways that we can get a separate grant or something through the Department of Transportation? We have a bridge project at the moment that we're discussing.
Is it on a town road or is it on a state road?
Town road.
Town road?
Yeah.
Generally, projects of that nature need to be supported by the town. However, there are some occasions, but there's a process of application we have to go through the Department of Transportation to try to get on the list for the long-term highway plans. And sometimes a town could be successful. So I guess the best answer to your question, you need to collect the data on what the particulars are, how urgent it is, and then initiate a request through your representative from the town to try to get something like that moving.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Gallagher, my name is John Franz. I used to serve in town government for 18 years, getting beaten up like these guys do. But I'd just like to ask you, there used to be a program that was gutted by the O'Brien legislature that was funded the county to provide work crews that could work in public buildings, such as the town hall here, the Dorchester Community Church, the museum. This is painting, maybe drywall work. And it was a very useful program, but it was cut. And it was cut mainly because the state removed its funding to the county to do this. And this was a viable tangible thing to the community, and now it's no longer there, and now it's, we're kind of on a no maintenance and struggle to pay for it. So, but when the prisoners came here, many of them were skilled because they went through minor infractions.
Sure.
And but they came in here. They were painters. They were drywallers. They were great. And that should be a program that should be looked at again and funded by the legislature back to the counties.
So noted. I can share with you an experience of what we're doing down in Belknap, because we've got the same situation with a correctional facility down there. Folks that have sort of earned their time and earned the trust to be able to go out in the community, supervise. The commissioners that sit down in Belknap have elected to fund it within the county budget, those kinds of programs. So an opportunity could be to look to your Grafton County commissioners, the county delegation, to see if they have allocated any county funds where trustees could come out and, as you say, do some maintenance projects, for the town at a very nominal investment.
I had asked one of the county commissioners that question. I said, "Why don't you do it anymore?" She said, "Well, our funding was cut off, and so it may have to come to another end, I guess." So,
Sure.
that's right.
Any other questions for the representative? Can I ask you just one more?
Absolutely.
Just a quick policy question. Since you're a Republican, it's safe to assume that you would oppose a state sales tax or state income tax, but we're always looking for ways to raise more money. What's your position on gambling in New Hampshire?
Sure. You're correct on the first assumption. More taxes that don't necessarily mean more efficiency. We had that proposal in the Ways and Means Committee on the gambling this year, and I went into it with sort of an open concept, not to take for or against it, but to listen to the whole argument. When all said and done, I did vote against casino gambling. And the reason being is because the information, the overwhelming information that has been presented created two scenarios. One, it's a declining revenue base over time, and that's evidenced by other states that have come into it. For example, Rhode Island, not that long ago, New Jersey has seen an erosion in it, and other states. The second part of it is the folks that participate, unfortunately, generally are those least able to. And as a result, the dollars are coming from a sector of the population that could better use those dollars for higher purposes. Sometimes, we talk about the ability of folks to hold on to their homes and folks to, be able to help educate their children, to pay their medical bills. And the other part of it, Mr. Chair, is that the evidence shows that the vast majority of the money that is made through the gambling slot machines, which studies have scientifically shown that they're very addicting. So that's sort of what drew me to that conclusion. And Senator D'Alessandro, who's been an advocate of it for 20 plus years, I think in this last legislature, I think that might be the last stand.
One last question. School building aid.
Yes.
Nascoma down there is building a new school, or a major renovation, I should say. School building aid is a no-go.
Correct.
It just didn't happen.
Right.
And it's not there. And it's kind of a shame because the taxpayers are going to have to eat this one. It's tough. But we had to do some things down there. Otherwise, it would just, the things are getting pretty decrepit. So.
Sure. Well, you're absolutely right on everything that you said. Let me just give you a little history on why we find ourselves in that position. 10 years ago, which seems like yesterday, when I was working at the Wyndham School District, and we built a $45 million high school. And school building aid was in place. At that time, the town of Wyndham received 30%, 30 cents on the dollar for that project. One of the things that was happening is that many large communities were building way beyond what was necessary. For example, in Nashville, they built Stellos football stadium, which is it's a beautiful facility. And the state at that point was participating in the funding of it. So it really moved away from what school building aid was about, which was to build a building to educate the children. Then we moved into a recessionary period, and it hit the chopping block, and it is gone. And someday it may come back, but I have not seen much enthusiasm from either party, Democrats or Republicans, to initiate reinstating it. So unfortunately, for a community like this, participating with Mascoma, you're going to pay the bill.
Another thing, kind of anecdotal here, I'm working on a committee, but I've been talking to a man in the state of Alabama recently, and we talked about taxes and how things are done down there versus New Hampshire. And it's so bad down there with funding for schools that students have to go to school and they have to take their own rolls of toilet paper. It's not supplied by the school.
Well, I hope that we won't find ourselves in that position.
Oh, that, look out.
That was very helpful.
Representative Gallagher, we really appreciate your time, and can we give the representative a round of applause? And if you win, we want to see lots of largesse for beautiful Dorchester.
And if I can just make one comment before I make my exit. There's 27 communities in the district, of which there's 3 counties. I just signed up and declared my candidacy yesterday. However, I started this process on March 31st. Tonight is my 25th meeting with community members and boards of selectmen. And as I look back, some of the larger communities, being Meredith, being Plymouth, and being Bristol, their attendance from the public doesn't mirror what is here tonight. This is one of the largest groups and selectmen that I presented before, so it's sort of refreshing to see that folks are engaged in their community. So.
Great, thank you very much.
Nice to meet you all.
All right, nice to meet you too. Thanks for your time. All right, thank you. Thank you. All right then. We will begin our meeting. I just want to say, as by way of introduction, a couple of comments. One, just before the meeting started, I got a call from Dean, the road agent. He won't be able to attend, nor Cookie. There's a family situation. I don't know what it is, but they will not be here. We still, however, have a highway report. I'll read it. We've got some discussion to have about highway and some proposals. Also, then the usual introductory remarks. Discussion here is civil, it's polite, no personal attacks of any kind. If that happens, I will adjourn the meeting and we will finish our business in a non-public session. But since we're such a big crowd here, and I know we're all, happy to participate, and I'm really happy to see everybody here. This really means a lot to me that so many people are interested in what the board is up to and how we're trying to serve. Okay, let's begin with a review of the minutes. And I have to say, Beth, I have not seen the May 5th or the May 19th minutes, and that could be my own filing system at home, but I have looked everywhere and I haven't seen it.
I have either.
Okay.
Maybe not. Want me to send them again?
Please. I apologize, and also I apologize to the residents for not getting the minutes up posted on the town website. We are trying to keep up with paperwork and things as best we can, being shorthanded, and the minutes is one of the things that got kind of slotted down on the list of to-do things. Okay, so let's move on to the manifest. You want to take a look at it? Did you take a look at it?
Yes, I looked at it already, but
Okay.
there was no time cards. I haven't seen the time cards yet.
Okay, do you want to see the time cards before you sign?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so we won't have a motion then to approve the manifest. Okay, yes, Artie?
Can you approve everything except the salaries? Because I have all that stuff ready to go. Did you see any of the receipts, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
just didn't see the time cards for the employees. There wasn't any time cards for the employees available. Everything else I see though.
They're in a folder at the office and they just weren't kept it, but.
I'll be glad to send you the copy that I was sent from the accountant of the receipts, but all I'm asking, if you want to just hold off on paychecks until you see the time sheet, because we have everything loaded with the bank and ready to go. For your other bills. Did you see the other bills?
Yeah.
Yes, that's what you said. I said I see the other bill. I see all the other bills.
Yeah.
I just haven't seen the time cards for the employees.
For some of them, if we don't pay, we're going to get a penalty.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Well then, I make a motion that we approve a modified manifest that does not include the salary checks for town employees, pending review of the time cards.
The second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, so Artie's over. Artie, treasurer's report?
I sent you the
Yeah, I see it.
reconciliation. All the accounts are reconciled up to end of May.
Okay,
We have about 48,000 in the money market.
okay,
That'll get us through June.
okay.
The next manifest. You do have stipends for pay in June, end of June. You may want to put it off till July.
Okay,
We also have not paid put any money into the trust funds that was passed at town meeting. I'm going to propose that we put in the two small ones, because then there's 45,000 after that. When the taxes, I don't know when Darlene's going out with taxes. What do you think, Darlene?
When I get the warrant,
Okay.
okay.
And that will make us
Flush again.
flush until, and then we'll deal with it in early November, and we'll see what we have.
Okay.
Okay, but
All
there's no need for a CAD. The spending was very good for those two periods,
Okay.
and just spend what you need.
I see that we're $20 in the hole, am I reading that right?
By the end of the month, with the reconciliation with the bank, it came out 20 in the hole.
Okay,
Now what I do is transfer money from the money market, which has approximately 40,000 in it. So that'll take us through, I already switched 1,000 already, so we're not in the minus.
okay,
But that will take us through any expenditures in June. Taxes go out, we should have money coming back in end of June, July.
okay,
And then we should be okay.
okay,
And if we're not, I'll just tell you that we gotta postpone some payments.
okay,
That was like, right now, you can cover that manifest.
okay,
And the other thing with the manifest is when you get so many of these accounts, if we don't pay them prudently, they charge us interest.
Right.
That's what I suggest.
right.
Okay?
Yep.
When is our next school payment due? Because that's a lot.
Every month. We just paid one this month.
Okay, so we don't have this quarterly thing going. All right.
Every month we
Monthly,
pay.
yep.
It's
All right.
26,000 and change. But it's, now the next manifest you get for this month, about half.
Right,
So we're a little lower. That's why I'm pretty confident you're gonna be just fine.
okay,
Unless you have any emergency expenditures, then we'll have to deal with it.
okay,
But there wasn't a need for a CAN or whatever, so,
okay,
which is good. I would do want to bring back to your attention outstanding taxes. Some are 3 years back, some are 2, some are 2015 is about 36,000 just for, so it is an issue that you're gonna have to address when you do the budget. Because it's a considerable amount of money to our town. to plan things and they not have the money commit.
Yeah.
So,
Okay,
okay?
all right, thanks, Artie.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right then. Moving on to highway. Without the road agent here, this will be a bit shorter than planned. The plan from the future is that the road agent will be here at every meeting. He will deliver the highway report and he'll take questions from the audience about the highway during that section of the selectmen's meeting. And then we'll, during the public input session, we'll move on to, other matters in town. So road questions will be confined to the highway part of the meeting, and he will be here at every meeting. I'm sorry, there's a family situation preventing him from being here tonight. I was hoping to kick this off, but so be it. Problems happen. I have some proposals I want to make about highway. No, we'll get to the report in a second. The state law that governs how the Board of Selectmen supervises the highway department is both broad and specific. The Board of Selectmen actually does not have a lot of latitude, believe it or not. And I'm going to read you a portion of the law. This is RSA 231-65. So everybody understands what it is that we have to work with when we're working with the highway department. Hang on, glasses. The introduction is highway agents shall be sworn to the faithful discharge of their duty, give bonds to the satisfaction of the selectmen for the faithful performance of the duties of the office, and be responsible to them for expenditure of money and discharge of their duties generally. Here's the key sentence. The selectmen may supervise the methods and manner of performance of such agents, of the road agent, in other words. So we are supervisors of the road agent. The laws that the road agent follows are actually state laws. They're not town laws. But we supervise the road agent and the highway department. With that in mind, I have three proposals I want to make that I believe will help us in that supervision and more closely monitor the highway department and also provide much more transparency for the town. My first proposal is, and I move, that we create job descriptions for the road agent and for each employee in the highway department, and that these job descriptions will be posted at the highway shed for public review as necessary. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Let's think about it.
You want to think about it?
No?
No? Okay. All right.
I have a question.
Sure.
There's another very important message in that first sentence I wrote. It says that the road agent is supposed to perform his duties faithfully.
Right.
And if he's unable to perform his duties, in other words, he's incapable of doing the work, he should be asked to be relieved from his duty.
Okay. I'll read that sentence too.
Okay.
You're right.
Yeah, I mean, that's it right there in a nutshell,
Okay.
obviously.
If any highway agent shall intentionally or deliberately refuse or neglect to comply with lawful instructions of the selectmen, or shall intentionally or deliberately refuse or neglect to carry out the duties prescribed by law for highway agents after written request by the selectmen may remove such agent from office. You're absolutely right, Jay.
So if the road agent is letting his assistant drive the big truck without a med card and a CDL license, he should be removed from office.
All right, we're going to get to this.
Okay, I'm just-
No, I
I
appreciate you
It
bringing
seems
this
real
up.
simple to me.
Okay. All right. All in favor of job descriptions? Aye. Okay. My second proposal is this, that we create a comprehensive list of performance standards that describe how the Board of Selectmen expects road work to be performed, that describe how the Board of Selectmen expects the road agent to manage the highway shed and the highway department, and also describes how the Board of Selectmen expect the road agent to respond to public comment and questions and complaints in a timely manner. And that these performance standards would also be posted at the highway shed for public inspection. Okay. Any discussion?
How will we set the standards?
Well, I found out that the state highway department is actually not much help in this regard, because they don't have performance standards. So this is going to be a bit of a research project, and I'm not thinking about any particular road agent. I want that understood. I'm thinking about the highway department in general for now and in the future. Okay? Personality is out of this. I'm thinking about the relationship between the selectmen and the highway department in general. So I think that this would be a bit of a research project, but I think it's possible, and I think it would be very beneficial.
Have you thought of discussing with some other sorts of towns that have?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That would be part of it.
way to do it, because
Yeah.
I'm sure it happens in other towns.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no point in us reinventing the wheel if
Yeah.
somebody's already invented
No,
it.
I think that should be, that's the route we should take.
All right, great.
Along with the laws that are set forth for the road agent, there's not any regulations at all through the state? Like,
Oh, no. I meant,
I know you're saying in your last.
no, what I meant is like, for example, the state has no strict standard for how a culvert should be installed.
Yeah,
You know, it's up to the local guys. You
but
know.
like the person that's qualified.
Right,
the
that-
foreman.
That's what I meant, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. My last proposal is this, that we institute a formal system of comment and complaint for the highway department. We create a form where if somebody has a complaint or a comment about the highway department, they fill out the form with their name and address, no anonymous things, with the address of where the issue might be, and that this be filed at the town office for our review and the road agent's review, and together with the road agent, we develop a priority list for projects and when they're going to be completed, and that there would be a formal follow-up system to these complaints and comments made by the road agent.
Second that?
Any discussion?
No?
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
We will have those forms at the town office, probably beginning Monday, and at every selectmen's meeting from now on. Yes, Jay?
I suggest one more thing, like the checks and balances, like what we talked about, an accountability sheet from the road agent. To
Okay.
document what he spends every day, where the mileage, the logs in the truck, all that sort of thing. It might take 10 minutes of his time, I agree,
Right.
but it's
Get paid for it, yeah.
It's question free, you know?
That would be part of the performance standards, okay? That there would be
So
log
accountability
sheets.
sheet,
Yeah,
log sheets,
exactly.
fuel consumption, every night it's pumped into
Right.
a rig, it says how many gallons, what rig, the
Yeah.
day.
That would be included under management of the
Okay.
department and the shed.
Yeah,
Okay.
and we've had that in place, I don't know why it was dropped. but, you know,
The time
that-
cards. So,
Also,
The
Larry's,
time
the
cards.
time cards will come under performance.
that's right,
I
exactly.
thought there were already formal complaint sheets in place right now.
General complaints.
Okay.
This is for highway.
This is
Specifically.
Yeah.
That's right. Also, I'm hoping that what we can do then also with the highway department's schedule of work is have that posted on the homepage of the town website, so that anybody can go to the town website and see what is planned, weather permitting, of course, what is planned that week or that 2-week period for work by the highway department. Does anybody have any comments about this while we're talking about highways? Yes.
Regarding the how the road agent manages the town sheds and employees and whatnot, will there be a specific list of things that must not happen on town property? Specifically, the town sheds in the yard and whatnot.
We could include that, I think. I mean,
I think that's
I think
important, the
under
question of safety.
general
Code
safety.
of ethics.
Yeah,
Isn't there one in place right now?
there is a code of ethics. You're right. There's a code of ethics that governs behavior, and that's on the town website now. But I think the specific things about,
I wasn't thinking about letting somebody smoke pot out there. I was thinking more,
it's legal. I'm sorry.
I can only pull something out of my head. I was thinking more about who has access
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
without the presence of the road agent or
Right.
one of his employees and whatnot, and who can bring vehicles in there and who can go strutting around doing whatever.
Right.
I think that's really
or
important.
where residents' vehicles would be allowed. And
Yes.
things yes, I think that's
And
important.
I think the road agent should be responsible for as
Yeah.
best as he's able.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, Jack?
I just have one question, if I could approach the board
Yes.
for a second.
Okay.
I just would like to hand you this document to consider when looking at the, considering the employee manual for the road agent.
Right.
And to review that carefully before you make any others, and look at that in terms of the code of ethics and how employees are supposed to behave.
Okay. This was
I have no other comment to make at this time now.
this is a personal matter that did not happen on town time. I think that we need to make that clear.
It is a public matter, and it is a criminal matter, and it should be taken in probably a private session where you guys can review it and discuss it. I have nothing further to comment on that right now.
All right.
I have another question. On the code of ethics, from what we've discussed with the board and with your emails, that you guys are not allowed to enforce anything as far as any sort of activity that does not jive. It should be handled by the police department, correct? So are you able to enforce the code of ethics, or do you have to go to the police department to enforce the code of ethics with your road agent? I mean, we have code of ethics, but if nobody enforces them, what good are they?
I agree with you. The Code of Ethics was instituted in 2012, and it's, as I understand it, it's basically a guideline. So it's not something that can be enforced with the force of law.
So it can be reprimanded by the selectmen, you can.
Yeah,
I can put something.
a violation of the Code of Ethics
Yeah.
can be,
You can-
there can be a reprimand.
Yeah, reprimand.
That's
By
right.
the boss.
Okay.
And ultimately dismissal.
Ultimately, yeah, that's right.
1, 2, 3.
Right. These are measures of performance and a way of creating a documented file. Now, it works both ways. I mean, there can be violations, but there also can be successes, and those would be noted as well. So,
Success is the standard of his job description, that he should be successful. If he's not, there's a problem.
that's right.
It's I don't think he should be patted on the back for putting the culvert in by any means.
No.
That's what his job is, it's not,
No, and that's not what I meant.
Yeah.
But, I mean, meeting performance standards and meeting expectations, that's fulfilling the job.
that's to be expected by his job, I think.
Okay. Yeah, oh, I'm sorry, Sherry.
No, sorry. So you're gonna have a code of ethics. Do you also have some sort of disciplinary process in place? Like most of these places where you work, like if you'll get a verbal warning,
Right.
you'll get a written warning, and if you get, 1, 2, 3 written warnings, then you lose your job.
Right.
Do we have that in place here? Should it be put into place?
The one thing to remember is that the road agent is appointed. He is not an at-will employee. And in the kinds of situation that you describe in the private sector, those people are at-will employees. And those kinds of structures have been put in place so that if a dismissal is made, that it's gone through a process and is fair. I think that the same thing should apply even to our appointees. If there is a documentable record of not meeting performance standards or violations of, what have you.
So I'm confused because I assume that all positions in the state of New Hampshire are at-will positions.
Yeah,
Not,
without a contract.
Without a contract,
That's the
yeah.
common
There's a
law.
difference between contracted positions and at-will
Right.
positions, and is this a contracted position?
this is, it's an implied one-year contract.
Okay.
So we had discussions with the town attorney about this. So,
Okay.
I mean, we're not pulling this
No,
stuff out
no,
of
I'm
thin
just
air.
like I've been speaking with people who work at the city of Canaan,
Mhm.
and, they've had employees do
Right.
misdeeds, and they've been terminated.
Okay,
So
well-
is their situation different? Are their...
Well, it depends on the employee. For example, the administrative assistant to the Board of Selectmen, that's an at-will employee. Other employees in the highway department, those are at-will employees.
So
But the
road
road
agent
agent is appointed.
is appointed.
That's right. So,
Okay,
and,
so don't we need some sort of fail-safe for our own protection? I mean, what if we had someone in there that was totally from day one robbing the town blind? We have no recourse, we just have to let it happen? I mean, if you catch them, or if they're reported to do, and you find that they've done a misdeed, we don't have the ability to say you're terminated.
Artie?
You do.
If they've done a misdeed.
Yeah, and the example, I'm not gonna name names, but the example is the prior road agent.
Right.
And it took a bit, but the problem was, he was elected. And for a 3-year term. And through his road agent elected for 3 years, through his course, he had derelictions of duty. And they call it a progression of discipline. And I would suggest, I think your suggestions are great. But also what you have to do is you document the good stuff, but you also document the negative stuff. And as the negative stuff, you do have verbal, written, you can fine them, days pay, you can suspend them without pay for a certain period of time. And then if you get to a point where you've exhausted your progression of discipline, or if it's so severe that you have to immediately terminate them, as was done before, you now have grounds to fire him.
Right.
With an appointed guy, just for a year, and you guys are calling the shots, you have to mentally decide, do you have enough in your pocket to say you're fired?
Right.
And if you do, then you fire right then.
So to respond,
But your cause is, do you have documentation
Right.
to support your decision? That's it.
If you break a state law, would that be a reason? If you break more than one state law, is that a reason?
Well, now, it depends. If you steal from the town, definitely. And we did that. That was the last straw. But there were 3 steals from the town. So we were pretty benevolent.
Yeah.
And we went through all the stages of discipline. Even the select board before me fined the guy $400. But if it's not related to anyone's job in Dorchester, and he did something outside, but he still come to work and do that, you're gonna have a pretty hard time substantiating a lawful termination, is what they call it. That's the issue.
Okay.
yes.
Quick question, the whole issue of the employee's handbook came up, right? And I have read it.
And the code of ethics and,
Well, but the employee's handbook, so does it therefore not apply
to an appointed,
Yes,
He's still an employee of the town, even though he's.
Right.
and the reason I ask is,
sure,
so that we're all absolutely clear what I'm saying,
right,
is it says may dismiss on the following grounds, and one of them clearly says criminal activity. I don't want to pursue that any further. I
Okay.
don't think it's appropriate. But my point is, if in fact that handbook does apply to the appointed road agent, then there is one disciplinary paper that should be issued. I mean, even if that doesn't go any further, that's number one. I don't care about much else.
Okay.
And s-
All right.
Steve, when that code of ethics came out, you can't enforce that.
Right,
It's unenforceable. It's a code that you would hope that your elected officials and
right.
people would follow. Elected officials or appointed official, which the road agent is, it's pretty strict by the RSA what their job is and what their responsibilities are. The code of ethics at this point is, as I just said to you, about documenting a course of events and then a progression of discipline. That only adds up to, if you decide to let somebody go, you're going to go back and say, well, on this date or this date, we felt there was a violation of the code. It's doing your homework. It's basically what it is. And if you have a good employee, it's doing your homework in case he does make a silly mistake. You don't want to let him go.
Right.
Both ways.
Is there a difference between
And he was-
the code of ethics and the employee handbook? I thought the employee handbook, I mean, I'm sure there's an ethics part, but
Right. I think that we could sit here and discuss what-if situations all night long, but I think you're asking, what if a town employee, in this case an appointed town employee, the road agent, robbed, New Hampshire bank?
let's
Okay,
use any-
down there, all right, and was caught. So
and
is that
convicted.
a fireable offense?
I said, in my opinion, it goes on to a list of the 1, 2, 3.
Right.
My point is that that handbook was in place, was provided to the road agent when you appointed him with an implied 1-year contract, even if it's not in writing.
Right.
So therefore, if it was accepted, then that becomes part of his contract. So therefore, there are certain things within that handbook that he should expect might come up about dismissal or an advice, how can I say it, a disciplinary advisement on paper. That's all.
All right.
I'm not trying to make it complicated.
No, I know. Yes, Becky.
Question. When you say appointed, who appoints? You guys or the town or?
The Board of Selectmen
The Board of
makes a
Selectmen.
point.
And when is that term? Is that like June to June or
April to April.
April? Okay.
Or it has been April to April. There's one slight modification that Jay and Graydon will know, and that is technically the Board of Selectmen does not appoint fire warden and the deputy fire warden. We have it that way in our paperwork, but technically we recommend to the Division of Forests and Lands that, Jay, Graydon, Joe Schmo, whomever, become the fire warden and the deputy fire warden. The Division of Forests and Lands actually makes that appointment, and they are officials of the Division of Forests and Lands, not of the town.
But we also are town employees during the course of the fire, at the course of the fire, because I get paid cost
Right.
share when I get W-2 by the town of Dorchester.
Right.
So I'm a state employee, as soon as I'm on a fire alarm, it's covered by workman's comp, and I'm a town
Right.
employee as well in the process of doing that.
Okay. So it's kind of a funny gray area.
Yes, it's a mixed situation,
Right.
but that's exactly how it works.
All right. Thank you. Yes, sir.
I understand that they're still not using purchase orders in the highway department.
I think we have, I
They
know
should-
with several
they should-
of our suppliers, we have accounts, and, I see,
I don't care
I
if
see
it's
the
only
one with
nut
bills.
bolt, they still should be using the purchase order.
Okay.
And if it's a big order and they're not able to go to get the part,
Right.
they can still give the purchase order number,
Okay.
and then all that paperwork comes back in. This way here, the way they're going now, anybody can walk in, walk out with nuts, bolts,
Okay.
tires, or anything else.
Okay, I think that that's a good suggestion. We can include that in the performance standards and management of the department. That's a good standard operating procedure. Okay, thanks for making that suggestion. Anything from the fire warden and the deputy fire warden? I know we had a little campfire blaze there on 118. What was that, on
I
Saturday?
didn't even run up there after you stopped by there.
Oh, yeah, there was, Keenan had left?
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding?
I didn't see any evidence of anything.
It was
Okay.
undetectable, we found it.
Okay.
Was it right on the side of the road, or?
It was right, yeah, it was right on the side of the road. What I'm referring to is on Saturday, I was driving home from the town hall along 118, and just above this View Drive, there was all Canaan Fire and Rescue was there, lights flashing, and I thought, oh no, this is just what we need. And I pulled over and stopped, and they said, no, don't worry, somebody just flipped a cigarette out, and it was just some little small thing. And I said, well, did you call the fire warden? And they said, we tried, but we couldn't get an answer. So I drove down by Graydon's house, I saw him working in his garage, I said, Canaan Fire and Rescue's up on 118, you probably should go check it out. But they were gone by that time. I mean, we're talking like 5 minutes.
Yeah, like they literally ran inside and left the road and was over there.
Okay. All right.
Can I just ask, because that's the backside of my property, and this is the first I've heard about that.
I think the fire was actually on the other side, that was on the, what is that, the west side of 118?
Oh, on this side of the?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
property,
Yeah.
salvage.
Yeah, it was like,
And if the fire burned 6 square feet, I would be surprised, so.
I didn't even see a burn mark.
Yes. Well, they came roaring in like it was, the whole town was gonna go up, so. And I'm glad it did. Yeah, sorry.
I don't know if you want to come on it, but since the firewood is here, can you explain what does a firewood do? I mean, it seems to be what jurisdiction, or like if the fire department's coming in to put out a fire, brush fire, shouldn't they be notified of firewood?
Yeah, that's actually a good question.
I mean, what jurisdiction, how does it work?
Yeah, clarify your role, because that's
What I
important.
do is, I manage all exterior fire in the town as far as resources to put it out, as far as personnel to put it out, and then I do the investigations. State police and fire marshals do not do forest fire investigations, so it's completely up to me to do that. I'm also responsible for writing permits for 4 different kinds of fires in the town, 4 different levels of fire to any person who owns property in this town or is renting a piece of property and has the right from the owner to put on that piece of property. As far as, what else would you like to know?
Jade, can I ask you a what if question? What if that fire on 118 was much bigger? I mean, and Canaan Fire and Rescue and maybe even Rumney came up, and they were, trying to douse the fire, and they got a hold of you. What would be your role in that situation?
At that point in time, my role is I can go up and fight the fire, but there's already an incident commander who is taking charge of the fire and has the apparatus to put that fire out. That's what the mutual aid agreement is between Rumney and the reason.
So you fall under the supervision of the incident commander.
If I'm the first one to show up with the fire, I'm the commander, and as soon as I feel that there's someone else there who's capable of commanding the fire, I assign that to them.
Okay.
So first responder, basically, the guy with no equipment who puts their finger in the hole and tries to, make sure that nothing happens.
Okay.
But for instance, on the fire on Province Road, our ranger put him in command of flank to check for hot spots.
Right.
And there were just 4 other wardens there.
On Monday, I was in command of the whole fire in command with Bill Gullion, who was not there, and Steve Sherman, who was my ranger, so the 3 of us were in command.
Okay.
And, we've always tried to have a positive presence in town here too. We don't go looking for trouble, and that's one of the things I think is very important, is respect people's rights to enjoy having a campfire if they want to do it, but we also expect them to do it with much care.
Well, I think this is a good discussion to have and clarifying these rules, because as we know, we can probably expect more severe weather events.
It's dry right now.
Yes, it's dry as it's going right now, and if we get a good thunderstorm, we could deal with lightning strike fires and who knows what. So knowing exactly what the role is, I think, is important.
Like one of the other things that we've discussed, when push comes to shove, I actually have the authority to arrest without warrant, if someone is interfering with either my access to gain, access to a wildfire, or during my investigation,
Okay,
if they interfere.
all right.
So, I mean, fortunately, I've never had to use that sort of power, and I don't expect to have to use it, but it is there whenever I want it.
All right.
And for, there is information right online. You can go on to Forest and Lands and you can see our total job description. There's a slideshow for you.
It's
Look
about
at that.
85 pages.
Yeah, it's the whole book full of information of what we do and what we're supposed to do and what type of actions we're supposed to make. So if there's any other questions, you can go right on there and check it out. Yep.
Artie?
The other important question I have is what qualifications and are they supplied, or are local guys supplied with the training to do these things?
Yep.
Are you,
I got a 98 on my 8-hour force test when I first started as deputy warden. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm recertified whenever the need be. We just went to training this past spring, deputy training down in Brentwood, New Hampshire. It was a 3-hour session of nothing but warden and deputy warden's duties, and I feel confident, my ranger feels confident that I can do the job. That's what I've been required by the state.
so they do include us in the training then?
There's multiple, include who in the training?
You?
Oh,
I mean, they offer it to you.
Yeah, the training.
Yeah, okay.
Jay, this is just an informational question. Does the fire warden position, are you required to maintain continuing education credits?
No, they don't have it set that far. We just have to attend the spring meeting every 3 years, at least once every 3 years.
Does a certification come out of that meeting?
It's not a certification, it's attendance.
Okay, all right.
If either you can't write the permits or you
Yeah, there's an RSA that says that if you don't go to a meeting every 3 years, that you might not be able to write permits if your ranger holds you accountable.
Okay, all right. Moving on.
All up to snuff.
Okay. I'm sorry. I was going to read the highway report. I apologize. Okay, roads. He's got 2 sections here. Grade, rake, and roll Clough Road after replacing 2 culverts. Ditch lines cleared and water runoffs done. Clear out right-of-way sides, banking 30 loads of ditch fill and stones. The man hours for 2 men equals 240 plus hours. The materials used were 5 loads of 3-inch minus stone, 35 loads of 1.5-inch gravel, 5 loads of 1.5-inch stone, 3 lengths of 18-inch culverts, 2.5 lengths of 18-inch culverts, and grass seed and mulching. The equipment used up there on that project was the grader, the 2 6-wheel dump trucks, 1-ton dump truck, and the pickup with the York rake, the backhoe, the loader, the roller, the compactor, the Grizzly, miscellaneous hand tools, and a 20-ton trailer. Second thing was, the road agent met with the Historic District Commission. That was on Tuesday. That's right. And a plan is in place for the concerns of the road width on the town common. I'm working in conjunction with our lawn care service provider and the commission to come to a satisfactory resolution to this concern. There was concern from the historic district that the roads in the historic district had gotten too wide due to grading and snow plowing and stuff like that. So we had, Sherry, is it fair to describe as a pretty productive meeting with the road agent about?
It was very productive.
Yeah, okay, good.
Holly and I will be up here tomorrow to stake out the areas for him.
Okay. That's good. And we are going to have stakes there during the winter.
To prevent damage
over grading, I guess, or over plowing. Yeah, okay. All right. Great. Fleet maintenance, a sweeper is done and ready to go. No report on the highway facility and no miscellaneous. Upcoming plans. Move equipment to the next section of town for road work, and he didn't specify what is the next section. I would expect that in the future to be part of the regular report, though, so that we all know. Signage on River Road and Streeter Woods Road with delineator replacement as needed once road work is completed, and then equipment maintenance as needed. And that's
submitted by our road agent, Dean Stockwell.
I do have a question.
Oh, sure.
What's happening on Streeter Road?
A little vague here, huh?
Yeah.
Yes.
I live there, I'd like to make sure I can access my house.
Signage.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Signage.
Yeah. He says signage with delineator replacement. That may be down on my end of the street or Woods Road.
Okay.
Okay. So, all right. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. I just wondered if there was any consideration about the culvert that's right there on the corner on the street of Woods Road.
Oh,
It's coming in, getting pretty narrow right
okay. We got a couple of culverts on Streeter Woods Road. Which do you mean the one just down below the acres?
Well, down, it's past the township and coming towards 118.
Oh, okay. So it's coming this
Right
way.
there where the little brook is, it's getting narrower and narrower all the time.
Okay.
Where the little corner is.
That is the perfect thing that you would write up in a sheet, you know, and say, there's a culvert problem, here's where it is. You file it. We talk with the road agent and say, look, this is a pretty serious problem we wanted to address, and we want to address it in the next couple of days.
So does that mean if you don't fill out that form, that you can't discuss it unless you do?
Well, you can discuss it, but filling out the form creates a trail and something to refer back to. And it gives us something to say, look, did you do this or not? You promised that it was going to be done by this date, and we're not seeing it done. And it's right here in paper.
Do you have any sheets and pens tonight?
Yeah, we're going to get the
I'm
forms.
sorry, I don't. We had to pass the motion first.
Okay.
I will create the forms as soon as I can. I will have them at the town office on Monday.
Awesome.
Okay?
I have another question.
Okay, sure.
Being that our road agent was appointed,
Right.
does he actually work for you as the selectman or the people in town?
That's actually a really good question.
Because he himself, the road agent, told me that he did not work for the selectmen, he works for the town. So that was quite a while ago, so I'm just asking.
Okay. No, that's actually a good question.
If he's appointed by the selectmen.
He's appointed by the selectmen. We supervise him, but he does work for the town. We are elected, so the residents of the town, that's who we work for. So I realize it's kind of a chain of command, but in effect, the road agent works for the town, but we supervise them. So we are the agents of the town to manage the road agent. Is that clear? No, not so much. Now, if by warrant or something at town meeting, the arrangement is changed and the road agent becomes elected, then he's answerable to voters. Okay?
So if he's elected, he's answering to us, but he told me that he works for us, not for you. So, I guess I'm
Okay,
confused.
the way the law is written, and what I read, is we supervise his methods and his performance. Okay? All right.
On that, on Clout Road,
Yes.
did he notify Dig Safe before he put in those culverts?
I don't know.
So I heard there was an incident up there where he ran into either a phone line or a power line.
Bob Green's phone line, service with Fairpoint.
I don't know the facts, so I can't respond to that.
well, you know
I mean,
the
I've heard things. I haven't seen it for myself.
We do
But
have
no,
information.
I was wondering if he notified Dig Safe before, because there's a statement in the actual RSA that states that he has to notify before any excavation is done on any property in the town as a.
And if he hits something, he has to leave it uncovered until they come and check it out and verify what's damaged, and then then they can either find them or they can cover it back up. But we dig in town, and it's against the law to dig without calling.
Larry was closer than I do.
I don't know.
Okay.
You can ride
have to ask him.
that road, and there's actual, like, if you have ever seen an electric line buried underground, when you do that, the electric co-op gives you a roll of red tape that you back roll about a foot, and you put that on top of that in the trench, and that's scattered all up and down that road.
All right.
feel like we could talk about, yes, Darlene.
Well, speaking
Last thing about the highway, okay? Can we-
Well, my concern is the rest of our roads gonna end up looking like Clough Road. It has been raked. I do not understand why we need a four-way, literally 4 cars could go up that road. It is a little road, there's a couple people that live out there, it's just way too wide, and it's happening all over town. I know you've heard these complaints before. I don't understand, it's why? Why?
That gets, yes, that would be addressed under performance. I haven't seen Clough Road for a week, I haven't had a chance to get up there and take a look at the recent work, so I
It's sad.
can't comment.
It's sad. I mean, this is a lovely community, and it's enjoyable to take little scenic cruises, and now it's like super highways, and I don't see the need
It's
for
not just
it.
that, it's just a waste of money.
It's an interesting, much like the Historic Society is. It is, since I've lived here
Right.
almost 2 years now, the road is way wider on Thayer Road than a year and a half. You know, it was to the point where we could only get the big truck through there just enough with maybe half a car. And now it's 2 cars. So maybe there needs to be consideration of figuring out exactly what should be plowed, or what I don't know how we're making things wider and wider, but it certainly is now. It's like a little highway compared to the back road.
I want to conclude our highway discussion with this comment. I think all of us here in town, and certainly the Board of Selectmen and the road agent, all agree on the basic point, which is we want the best roads that our budget can support. How we get there is a whole process, and it involves different people. But this is the goal that certainly in our supervision of the highway department, this is what we're shooting for. This is what we want, because we know it's what you want here. So, you know, we're not going to have a, federal, super paved road system in Dorchester. That's just not going to be possible.
I don't think that's what
We don't want it.
That's what we're looking for.
That's right. But we do want to both have a great road system that we can afford, and also one that retains the character of the town that we love so much.
We don't want to have a period for when a culvert's installed and then repay because it's not installed correctly.
I agree. Creating the best highways and roads in town that we can afford involves wise use of money.
It's just a
But
simple-
complete one before you start another one.
Right. Okay. Darlene, the tax warrant is prepared. I don't know why it's not here to sign, but we'll get that to you ASAP. Okay?
I said one more thing, I had a question. Timber farm, do you sign it, please?
Oh, is that an intent to cut? Oh, okay. All right, thank you.
I still have that.
Okay. On new business, John, do you want to say anything about the bridge feasibility committee?
Just very briefly. We met on Tuesday night, and Mr. Green could not be at the meeting because his wife's very, very ill. And he has to be with her over there in ICU. And I guess things are not going well, so we should just hope that, in your prayers, hard, or whatever, maybe she recovers, or she's out of pain and misery. But anyhow, well, we continued the meeting and we talked about what has to be done. I asked Mrs. Hebert about the hazard mitigation funds. We still have no verification of that. She said there's something sketchy about it, that it needs to be totally verified. Now,
And that's for the first bridge, right?
the first bridge. The first bridge is, she said $70,000. Where did that $70,000 price come from? That is the question I have, because I was talking to Nancy Nagel of DOT Engineering today, and she said that's not enough money. So, something to think about. We talked about timeline. I brought up surveys. Mr. Yetman brought up a very good point about easements, because property owners are kind of tight in that. So that easements could be very helpful. The board would have to go addressing the other property owners when that comes to pass. So, I've introduced some information about Pioneer Bridges, which is nothing more than a permanent daily bridge. Very interesting structure, but we want to have it for HL 93 rating, which lets us put 100,000-pound trucks on that. You put a bridge there, and it's not rated high enough, you don't want somebody going through. You want to get a couple cars or like trucks, it's one thing, but if you put you see a logging truck comes through, they see a bridge, they're going to go through it.
John, is 100,000 pounds enough to cover a double logging truck?
Yeah.
All right.
The HL 93 is the highest rating most
Okay.
DOT gives.
Okay.
So. And then we have to look at engineering. I asked Mrs. Mayville for a list of engineers, which I'll turn over to you guys.
Right.
And then I asked Mr. Green should be setting the next meeting. And we'll be looking at, and also asked the town of Groton about, Mr. Stockwell had mentioned about Groton making a donation to the town. They know no such thing. I don't know how that came from. But anyway, they said they were looking to see if there's something in the past minutes, it was just something said in jest. So, but we're moving along. We just have to get some things done, but the first thing is going to be the survey and pipes the bridge, and we've got to talk mining.
Yes.
And it's not an overnight process. And it's interesting. But anybody that's interested, wants to know about Pioneer Bridges, I have it. Here it's the prefabricated bridges out of Alabama. And that's where I talk. The people are very talking about that, but nice, long southern drawl. And they talk about other things. And that's where the toilet paper issue came in.
John, is there a way that is the link to the Google Docs file where so much of this information for the bridge committee, is that public?
Yeah, the one. I mean the one from the state.
No, the one where Bob is uploading.
Right. Okay.
All this information.
All the information.
Yeah. Is that public or is that just for committee members?
That's as far as that should be public.
I think so too. Is there a way we can distribute so somebody at home could just type it in and
But what I have for you guys is you're going to have to fill out the bridge information, especially on the first bridge, because we may need some more money beyond the 70,000.
Okay.
And that comes in. But if it's not a large amount of money, Mrs. Mayville down at engineering said they can push through and get us some money for it. But if it's great big dollars, no.
Okay.
That's when you go down by the pecking order.
Okay. All right. Thank you, John. Also, in new business, we have the installation of the first AED unit. It's right over there. And there's a decal on the door. There will be another one installed as soon as we can get it at the town office. John, you were going to invite some people to conduct training here.
I'll fill you in on that one.
Okay.
Bill Wood, I contacted Bill Wood by email today, and I contacted Leaf Jopak down at Canaan Ambulance. And Leaf would be coming up here with Bill. Bill would be providing the instruction for the use of the AED and legal ramifications of it. Are you safe, harmless, or if you screw up using it? Evidently, there's such a thing as called the Good Samaritan law. So
if you try and mess up, you're not liable.
Right.
But if you don't try, you get in trouble.
Okay.
You drive by someone in health and on the road, and you see someone that's in need, and they get your license plate number, they can call the state police and have you detained for that.
I think I saw that on the Seinfeld episode.
But Bill will come up with mannequins, dummies, with color Annies and whatever. And then Mr. Joe Pack will come up and he's going to demonstrate the use of CPR in conjunction with AED. If we watch today's news, it was very interesting part of WMUR. There's over in Hampton in youth basketball. A young boy collapsed, and they did some CPR just to keep him moving, and then they jump-started him. And they said if the AED was not there, he would have been dead.
Interesting. Yes, Artie.
How much will it cost each of us to get that training?
How much will it cost to get the training?
What's that?
How much will the training cost?
The training?
Anybody wants to know?
The training is gratis.
It's free?
Bill comes up and Leaf comes up, and they just help us out. So.
Including the CPR training?
Yeah.
So they'll certify us for free?
no cost. It's just to acquaint people on the use of this device over here. It's
So
not a full CPR.
So it's not a full CPR certification, that would be, okay.
And that's a whole other can of worms.
All right.
It's something that town employees become familiar with, especially.
Okay.
Well,
Well, maybe when they come up and do the training for the AED, we can talk to them about having a CPR course for some of us in town who might be
there'll be
interested.
something, as soon as I get some dates, I'll throw it to you guys, when.
Okay.
When people want to come up, who wants to come, town employees, town officials, elected people, interested citizens, and whatever. Mr. Carroll is also expressed an interest in this also, so he's way for Virginia, so.
Okay, great. That's all I have before we get to the public input. Larry, do you have anything? Nope. Okay. Oh, yes, okay. When are you gonna do this, Jane?
Tomorrow,
Okay.
back to work.
All right. What's, I noticed that you got those logs down there that are debarked and smooth on one side, what's flat on one side, what's?
Yeah, we just sent those out, there's a guy, Hamilton Page down, Bill Manning, he uses those for barn purlins. He builds, big, huge projects out
Oh, yeah?
on the lakes, yeah.
I was wondering if you were getting into the log home business.
We just supply him with that, like he's one of the only people that they can get that stock from in the whole central New Hampshire.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, great. All right then, any comments, Darlene?
On the tax warrant,
Yes.
I was hoping that maybe before I put it in my system, before I go through assessing, to be able to check and make sure that things were put in and are correct.
Okay.
Because it would be a shame to be sending out bills to wrong people if they weren't entered. And I don't know and won't know until after I pull it through, and then I think it's a problem if I pull it through before changes are made.
Okay, okay. When would you have an opportunity to do that?
I can, tomorrow I'm available if
Okay.
that works.
That does work. So let's be in touch about that, so we can get this.
Okay.
I agree with you, it makes no sense to send a tax bill to somebody who's not, you know.
No, because then you gotta abate it.
Yeah.
It's becomes a pain in the butt.
Okay, all right. Anybody else? Anything else on people's minds?
When will I get my paycheck?
I can go to them tomorrow.
Larry says he'll look at the time cards tomorrow. Okay, I'll take a look. We'll get it done.
Yeah, but then you need the treasurer to sign it.
I'm around tomorrow, so whenever
Okay.
you guys scoot down
Thank
to
you.
your office and sign them.
All right,
You know, unless you have serious doubts, Larry, I could sign them all tonight. And if there's one you have a problem with, we could redo that so they can get their checks. Or if everybody's good for tomorrow, that's fine, look at everything, and I'll drop down tomorrow and sign, I got no problem with it. Just let me know. Give me a call.
Drop down, I'll look at them, tomorrow and drop down, please, and sign them then.
Yeah.
I'll look at them.
Could you put them in the treasurer's box for me?
Yeah.
And just give me a call at home, if I'm not there, leave a message, come on down. Thank you.
okay, great. In upcoming events, I just wanted to mention the Dorchester Going Places event is scheduled for Saturday, July 16th. It's on the town calendar, but I don't think we've gotten any posters up yet or anything like that. And a reminder, our June 11th paint day is canceled because we've got lead paint in the building, so we have to retrench and re-decide what we're gonna do about that. Have you been eating the paint again, Jack?
Jack says that explains a lot.
Okay, well, thank you all for coming. We're going to go into a couple of non-public sessions, so the public portion of the meeting is over. I appreciate everybody coming tonight and all your great comments and participation and helping us with our tasks. Thanks so much.
Thank you for coming.